Think you've seen everything in God of War Ragnarok? Think again. Hidden throughout the 9 realms are details that most players walked right past. Some connect back to the original Greek saga. Others secretly foreshadow major story moments. And one tiny detail completely changes how you look at Kratos by the end of the game. Let's see how many of these you actually noticed. God of War Ragnarok is packed with hidden dialogue, environmental storytelling, clever references, and small details that are incredibly easy to miss. Whether you finished the game once or multiple times, there's a good chance some of these slipped past you. So today, we're counting down 25 things you probably missed in God of War Ragnarok. Let's begin. The very first detail appears before the adventure even begins. When we first see Kratos, he's sleeping beside the fire. That may not sound important, but longtime fans know this is unusual. In the Greek games, Kratos was constantly haunted by nightmares. Sleep was almost impossible for him. Seeing him resting peacefully shows just how much he's changed since leaving Greece. It's a tiny moment that says more about his character than pages of dialogue ever could. The next detail involves the Leviathan axe. Every time Kratos throws it, remember that it was never originally his weapon. It belonged to Laufey Faye. Even after her death, Kratos continues carrying her legacy into every battle. The axe isn't just powerful, it's a reminder of the woman who helped change him forever. Another detail many players miss comes while traveling through the realms. If you use fast travel all the time, you'll skip dozens of conversations. While riding in boats or on sleds, Mimir constantly shares stories about the 9 realms. Some explain Norse mythology. Others reveal secrets about Odin, Thor, or even Faye. Many players never hear half of these conversations. Now let's talk about Tyr. The first time you rescue him, something feels off. He's nervous, avoids conflict, barely looks anyone in the eyes. At first, it seems like years of imprisonment changed him. But on a second playthrough, those strange behaviors suddenly make perfect sense. Santa Monica Studios quietly placed clues in front of us from the very beginning. Here's another easy one to miss. Throughout the game, Odin's ravens appear almost everywhere. Most players treat them as simple collectibles, but they're much more than that. These birds represent Odin's constant surveillance. Even when you think you're alone, there's always the feeling that Odin is watching. It's a brilliant way of turning gameplay into storytelling. But the next few details are even easier to miss because they only happen if you slow down and pay attention. Open Atreus' journal after completing major quests. You'll notice he updates his thoughts almost every time something important happens. He's not simply recording events, he's growing. You can actually watch his personality evolve through his writing. It's one of the best examples of character development hidden inside a menu. Here's something that longtime fans immediately noticed. Throughout most of the God of War series, Kratos almost never smiles. But during Ragnarok, there are a few tiny moments where the corners of his mouth lift ever so slightly, usually around Atreus. It's subtle. But after everything Kratos has survived, those small expressions mean everything. Next is Brock. Brock asks questions that nobody else thinks to ask. While everyone accepts things at face value, Brock keeps noticing small inconsistencies. Looking back, those conversations quietly foreshadow one of the game's biggest twists. The clues were always there. We just didn't realize what they meant. Here's another detail hidden in plain sight. Every realm feels completely different, not just because of the scenery. The music changes, the lighting changes, even the way characters speak changes depending on where you are. Santa Monica wanted every realm to feel like its own living world. Most players notice the visuals. Few notice everything else working together behind the scenes. Now compare Kratos in Ragnarok to the Kratos from the Greek games years ago. He attacked with pure rage, now he blocks, waits, protects. He fights smarter instead of harder. Even his combat animations tell the story of a man trying not to become his former self. One final detail for this part involves Freya's home. If you revisit it later in the game, you'll notice small environmental changes. Objects move. The atmosphere feels different. It's subtle storytelling showing that time continues moving even when the player isn't there. Little details like this make the world feel alive. And finally, let's talk about the Draupnir spear. This isn't just another weapon. It's built from sacrifice, hope, and trust. Unlike the Blades of Chaos, which remind Kratos of his darkest moments, the Draupnir Spear represents moving forward. It's one of the few weapons in the series tied directly to hope instead of regret. That's only the first half of the list. The remaining secrets include hidden prophecies, incredible callbacks to the Greek saga, secret dialogue most players never triggered, and one final detail that completely changes how you see Kratos' future. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe because Part 2 uncovers the final 13 secrets that almost every God of War Ragnarok player missed. They might completely change the way you see the game.